Everyone tells you that saving your marriage takes two.
But it takes both people, and it takes a setting down of ego that is very hard to do.
The truth is, relationships only work when two people are putting in the work.
That's complete bullshit. And today, I'm going to prove to you that saving it alone isn't just possible, it's actually easier than waiting for her to get on board. In fact, almost 100% of the marriages that we've saved here at Marriage Reset happened when only one person was committed to saving it. And now here's the kicker. The method I'm about to share will feel completely backwards to everything that you've been told so far. So stick with me for the next few minutes because I'm going to show you the exact ERM method that has helped us save hundreds of marriages. And the last thing I'm going to show you in this video is the first step that these men took to save their marriage.
We're intimate. We're very intimate.
What does intimate mean to you? Because I think it means different things to different people.
Sex, doing things together, working on projects, going to concerts or events.
We're out now, we're back in the same bed. We went on a date together a couple of times, and then she even leant over just before I was leaving, leant over, gave me a kiss, and she goes, "Oh, you're the man that I've always wanted. You're the man that I've always dreamed of having in my life."
Now, before I give you the 4 steps of the ERM method, I have to get you to stop making those marriage-killing mistakes. So picture this. You're a successful guy. You solve problems for a living. So let's imagine you wake up one morning and you get into your car to go to work. You turn the key, nothing, right? So you immediately take it to the mechanic because you couldn't figure it out yourself. And he sees the exact issue, which he's noticed hundreds of times. It's simply the spark plugs were broken. So he replaces them and good as new, your car is great, life goes on. So naturally, when your marriage breaks down, you think using the same logic applies, right? You go into your mind, think of all the different fights, all the things she constantly complains about, which there are patterns that you found, and you go fix those things. She says that you never gave her enough attention over the years. So you're responding to every message she says. You're home earlier, you're following her around the house. She always said you don't help enough around the house. You don't finish those projects. So you finish those projects. You're cleaning more, you're doing the chores, and you're expecting that she notices. Then there's that one time on vacation when she got drunk and she said that you care more about work than her. So you actually block off your Friday evenings, which you usually work to get ahead, and you make couples time. You plan dates with her. So problem solved, right? No, man. Your marriage is not a machine. It's a living, breathing ecosystem where every action creates a ripple effect. And here's what nobody tells you. You've been treating the symptoms of the disease instead of the problem. Let me show you. We're gonna go on a little journey here, all the way over here. Let's take a look at this tree, shall we? So all those problems that I just mentioned, I'm talking about the money, right? This is the money problems. This is you coming home too late. This is the chores. This is taking her on dates right here. So you try to destroy those tree branches because they're rotten, right? So you try to replace them and grow anew. But in reality, the roots are the problem because no matter how many branches you fix or cut off or try to just really make better, if the core root of the relationship is rotten and there's no fertilizer, there's not enough nurturance toward it as this living, breathing thing, no matter what you do, it'll never be enough. Now, as a therapist, I've watched this exact scenario play out hundreds of times. Successful men, CEOs, doctors, engineers, men who can solve complex issues and problems all day long, completely failing and falling apart when their wife says something as simple as, "I'm no longer happy," or "I'm falling out of love with you." Now, why is this? Because they're using logical solutions to fix an emotional problem. It is oil and water. And after seeing this pattern destroy marriage, I realized something that changed everything. The men who actually saved their relationships weren't the ones begging, pleasing, and negotiating. They were the ones who understood the one critical truth about female psychology. But I'll reveal that truth in a moment. First, you need to understand the 4 deadly mistakes that are pushing her further away right now and why your instincts are actually lying to you. The first mistake is the logic trap. She is not a problem to solve, as I said. That brilliant masculine side of your brain can use will of force, techniques, systems to organize reality in so many ways, but you are seeking connection, and logic creates disconnection with her. I really played out this scenario in my group call the other day. I was talking to guys, and I said, when you're with her in that moment, and you're assessing that there is an issue, a problem to solve, where do you go in your own body? Where does your attention go in order to get the outcome you want? You go in your head. You start thinking, analyzing, what's the right words to say? How do I show up to her? What do I do? How do I carry myself? Guess what's happening when you are doing that? You are disconnecting and creating a barrier between you and her. She will always respond to how you are feeling versus what you are saying. So no matter what correct words you use, if it is masking your fear and insecurity and doubt, she picks up on that. So here's a brutal truth. When she's drowning in negative emotions about you, using logic is like trying to put out a fire with gas. It really is. It just amplifies because she starts to associate you with a problem. You're only making it worse. Now, the second mistake is the nice guy death spiral. Now, women want a nice guy, right?
What made you not want him? I thought he was too nice.
Most girls won't admit this, but for your sake, I will. I hate nice guys.
You think being extra nice, extra helpful, extra accommodating will win her back. I mean, why wouldn't doing nice things for her make her want you? So you start doing the dishes, you start vacuuming the house, you start cleaning everything, you start cleaning the garage, organizing, bringing her flowers, agreeing with everything that she says. Wrong. By doing that, you are triggering her deepest fear, that you become weak.
And I kept seeing guys referencing the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. And I read that book or listened to that audio book, and I was like, dang, like that's a big part of me. I'm the does no wrong people pleaser. You know, I've never been drunk in my life or anything else. And just a lot of that played in the covert contracts and stuff like that, stuff I done nonstop. You know, that never even, like, it was just an eye opener of how much of that you done. And just, that's all I needed to stop it, is just the realization that's what I was doing, you know. So, and the neediness and stuff like that, like those parts that y'all talk about through that, and then hearing it another way with the No More Mr. Nice Guy and stuff like that all really hit home for me to stop some of that type of stuff.
Yeah. Even just having the awareness alone of these nice guy habits, right? And how they really play a role in the relationship. You look back at these times where maybe you're like, you're more defensive, like I wasn't doing anything wrong. And then you can see, oh, I was doing it for this reason. Like I was trying to change her emotions, or I see why she was calling me controlling, because I was trying to control her emotions in a way. Or the covert contracts, right? Of like doing something, but under the surface, you're expecting something in return. And when you can release that, it makes her feel like, oh yeah, he's safe, right? Like that whole emotional safety is such a cornerstone of all that.
Yeah, for 100%. And that's like, that was something, you know, we've talked about along the way that I've told her I've understood, because she's like, like she couldn't explain it until I explained it. And she's like, oh, that's it 100%. Like I felt that way. I couldn't put that into words of what was going on there. And like, I see it now. Like, no doubt that's what I've been doing.
The third mistake is the ego issue. Now, in an interview with a tired dad on my podcast, we talked about the biggest hidden factor that slowly destroys marriages. It's the ego. Now, he perfectly summed up the narrative of the ego and how it plays out in relationships. Let's see if you can relate.
Ego is, I deserve this. What am I missing? And if you're constantly thinking about I, that's your ego. What am I not getting? My wife, and then you start comparing, like that wife over there, my friend's wife does this, my wife doesn't do that. I deserve this. Yep. I work really hard. I deserve to be intimate with my wife all the time. She should not deny me of that. Why didn't she do that when I did that? I did the dishes all week long. Why isn't she doing them this week?
You see, each time you think thoughts like that, you put up an invisible barrier between you and her. You say to her that she has past trauma that causes her to be avoidant. She said she's stubborn herself. If she just overcame that, we would be more closer together. Or I've gone to therapy myself personally and sacrificed so much more than her. You see, by saying those things, your ego's main goal is to protect itself. So it doesn't give a damn if you're happy. Play that back and listen to it again. And what's the ego's biggest enemy? Change. The change you need to get her back. But in order for you to create your new marriage map, you have to change every part of you that will fight to stay the same. Knowing this one concept and idea alone, truly knowing its truth, is so massive towards your ability to get her back, okay? Now, I state this as one of the mistakes, but you must know straight up, even if you use the 4 steps of ERM method, it won't work if your ego is in the way. It'll be like trying to really steer a ship with a broken compass. You're gonna put all this time and energy and effort just going the wrong way. Now, the ERM method teaches you how to remove the ego and use the steps correctly, just so you know. So let's talk about how to fix that compass through the 4th mistake. Now, I call this the resentment anchor. Now, Jeremy, he tried his absolute hardest to win his wife back. He signed up for the program and immediately he started actually getting results. I mean, he used the turnaround technique correctly. He used CLC reports. He dove head first into the program with coaches and other brothers in arms. And within 3 weeks, his wife moved back into the main room when she was in a separate spare room. And they were even intimate one night. But then one day, he saw a text message from a man from her work that he knew she had an emotional affair with from her own disclosing for about a couple of months. Now, when he saw that message, he knew every ounce of him should not pick up the phone and don't go through it. He should have just told her and talked it through with her and left it alone, because they were making progress. But that little destructive voice in his head, the same one that pushed the giant red button when it says don't push, that kind of voice, it just took over. It took full control. And as he was looking through those messages, his heart was racing. His hands were shaking. He felt cold physiologically. He could barely breathe. But this force, almost like the devil, was over him, just going through that phone. His higher self was screaming at him to just stop, put it down, and walk away, but nothing would stop him. Now later that night when his wife came home, she brought home dinner, which she barely did, right? She was in such a good mood. At the dinner table, Jeremy tried to keep a straight face for the kids, but she knew something was up. Now looking at Jeremy with love and hope in her eyes, she said, "Honey, is something wrong?" Again, another opportunity for Jeremy to choose the right thing, but Jeremy faked a smile and said, "No, babe, just preoccupied with work." Now, this hiding of this truth he found out lasted for weeks. And instead of Jeremy being honest, every day was investing into a negative sentiment towards his wife. And I'll show you what that is later. Just know that one night in bed, she tried to cuddle with him. Something Jeremy would just honestly was praying for months ago, just for his wife and him to hold each other. And instead of allowing it, he remained stiff and said he didn't feel good. She said, "Jeremy, what's wrong? Just tell me." Jeremy said, "You're a liar. You said that affair only lasted 2 months. I saw texts going back to last year. That's like 8 months ago." After that conversation that night, that a huge blowout, she moved back downstairs and all progress was lost. Now, Jeremy had the right to be upset, he did. But instead, if Jeremy knew how to use the ERM method and he actually followed the exact steps of the whole entire program, he wouldn't have sabotaged everything that he gained with his wife. So let's teach how to go through this ERM method. The ERM method stands for Emotional Reset Method, and it's built on one revolutionary premise. Her emotions dictate her perceptions of you. And if you change her mood, you will change her mind. Now, Dr. John Gottman discovered the magic relationship ratio in relationships, and they all succeed or fail based on the amount of positive or negative emotional experiences that you have in a certain ratio. Right now, you attracted negative sentiment with her. There's far more negative emotional experiences over the years than positive. So the whole process of the ERM method on a high conceptual level is to get you to remove negative sentiment by changing her perception of past events while also adding positive emotional deposits on the positive perspective until you get back into the 4-to-1 ratio in which she sees you in the positive sentiment, which means she lets go of the past. She believes your changes. She trusts you again, and you become a safe place for her. Now, the beautiful part about the ERM method is those 4 mistakes I told you about. Each of the 4 steps of the ERM method correct those 4 mistakes. So let's go over the first key, which is removing resentment. I want to tell you a story that completely shifted how I saw my own pain and what was really holding me back in my relationship at one time. See, there was a man lost at sea, drifting in a small boat. He couldn't figure out why he wasn't making any progress towards the island where his wife was, even though he was paddling as hard as he could until his lungs gave out and his arms were sore. He was staring at the horizon, desperate to move forward. And eventually he looked inside of his boat and he realized something. There was this massive anchor still chained to the back and buried deep in the ocean floor. Now that anchor had a label, and it was resentment. You see, it was put there by him to make him feel safe and stable, and also justify with where he was at in his life, hoping someone else would help him along, but letting it go was what he needed to actually move forward. So here's a question that changed everything for me. Would you rather feel justified in your hurt, or would you rather feel happy? Remember that ego? It doesn't give a damn if you're happy. Another analogy I tell guys is that it's like you're hanging on this cliff by one hand and you're in so much pain, right? And you don't want to do the work to climb up to where your wife is because she's the one that pushed you, right? She pushed you off, but you also don't want to let go into the abyss because that's unknown and you can die. So you sit there in this middle ground, just holding on, expecting her to pull you up in pain. When you release resentment, 3 things happen instantly. You heal. This means you become immediately less reactive. You radiate calm confidence instead of desperate wounded energy. State transference also happens. She feels how you feel. So when you forgive through the law of reciprocity, she is more likely to forgive you for the things that you have done. And then she unconsciously feels safer around you because you're not carrying the heavy emotional baggage. And honestly, this one key alone of the ERM method is 80% of getting her back. That is how important this really is. But I've got 3 more for you. The second key of the ERM method is extreme ownership. You see, Marcus Aurelius says, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Here's a brutal question for you. What really causes 2 men in the same exact situation to get completely different results? Honestly, really think about it. Pause the video or write it in the comments down below. This fixes the other part of the ego problem I was talking about. You see, a lot of men, when asked what is really stopping them from getting their wives back, they'll say, well, it's her trauma. You know, all this like baggage she has that she's never processed. She's never really gone through that. Josh, it's her hormonal changes. She went through menopause and that's just really causing her to just completely be a different person. Or it's her sister who's now divorced. Or it's her divorced friends. Or it's her therapist. Look, I'm gonna draw a circle here. In this circle, this is your guys' emotional relationship. Now, there was no cracks in the beginning, which means any outside influence of a guy hitting her at work, her single friends telling her how awful you are, all this stuff. When you have a beautiful relationship, no outside influences can really cause sickness in your relationship because it is so healthy. Those outside influences have always been there. It's just that now your relationship is sick. And so now viruses can seep in because you stopped protecting it. The moment you take extreme ownership, you trigger her emotional safety because deep down, she needs to know you can and will protect her, even from herself and from yourself. So you heal those cracks. Now, there are two types of men that really come into this crisis that we see. The victim, he believes it's her friends, it's her therapist, it's her emotions, it's all this, blah, 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 everything outside of himself. And then he feels angry and resentful and powerless. He argues, tries to control, reacts emotionally. What's the result? She feels justified in leaving that man, doesn't she? But then there's the leader. He says, I control how I show up. Her attraction is in my hands. He feels confident, steady, unshakable. He builds himself emotionally and physically. He creates safety through his own composure. What's the result of that man? She sees undeniable change and gravitates back toward him. The third key of the ERM method is what is called the attraction paradox. This fixes the nice guy paradigm we were talking about. You see, you want her back quickly, but you're uncertain if it'll actually work. This creates this desperate energy that repels her faster than anything else. The opposite of this is the attraction paradox, combined with the Stockdale paradox. Sounds complicated, it's really simple. You must have complete certainty that you're gonna get her back, but you don't care how long it takes. Think about like making love. The man who's rushing to get to the finish line, he's anxious about his performance. He's checking his watch. How does that feel for her? Versus the man who's certain she wants him, right? And he savors every single moment. This beautiful dance of back and forth. He enjoys it. He loves the challenge, and he just revels in how long it'll actually take. Your relationship is in that same intimate dance right now. Here's Josh from our program, what he said.
And when I made that mindset of, I'm going to try to date her with no expectations, like I changed my tone around her, acted like, you know, when we wake up, like, because we were in separate beds and stuff, first time I saw her in the morning, like, how would I act if we were just dating? Like, I'd be happy to see her in the morning, right? My tone would be, you know, a certain way. And I just started doing that. And each time I started doing that, like, I could actually see her changing.
The fourth and final key of the ERM method is to perfect polarity through masculine leadership. This fixes the logical issue so many men have, because the game is to change her emotions, right? Well, there's a powerful quote that I'll paraphrase from David Data. He essentially says, every moment with your woman is either a celebration or a test, and she revels in testing you because she gets to see your divine presence. And here's what nobody tells you about women. She's so good at testing you. Not because she's mean or crazy or vindictive, but because she needs to know, can I trust this man to stay strong when life gets hard? And if you fail to pass her test and how she feels about you and her little emotional storms, how can she trust you to pass the world's? Because right now, her pulling back, her labeling and perceiving you in a way that you don't see yourself, her saying, this is over, just give up, move on to another woman, make the changes for the next one. We've heard it all before. It is all a test. And every time you fail it and get reactive or try to defend or convince her, it puts a weight on that negative side of the scale. But with every test you pass, you shift her emotions little by little as you progress through the 5 stages, which I will show you at the end of this video what those are. So here's a reframe about her tests. Instead of her jabbing you, stabbing you, poisoning you, we've heard it all. Think instead that every test is actually a gift. It is her unconscious way of asking, are you still the man that I fell in love with? Or have you become weak?
Like the idea of every action, every criticism she has, or every time she's upset, putting it through the lens of like, oh, I'm making her not feel emotionally safe right now or reassured. Are you able to see that pattern in her tests or criticisms or whenever time she gets upset?
Yeah. And I actually take that as a good thing now, you know, when she does criticize and test, because I know now that means she cares. And that means she's trying to show me something and tell me something. And it's just in a different way. So I smile on the inside when she does it. So, and then when she snaps at me and stuff, and I just tell her, you know, it's cute when you're angry at me, or you're cute when you're feisty, or you know, whatever. So that's one of the tricks I learned. I think it was from Masculine in a Relationship.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. It's taking her, because in her, like we talk about frame a lot, right? It's like she has her frame of like, this is a big deal. Right. And then your frame is like, well, it's not, you know what I mean? Or like, I love you, or like, you know, your criticism, I see behind all that anger that you're just like a scared little girl that just wants love. And so I'm going to use humor and to completely dispel that. And it's such an advanced skill to master. But once you get it down, it's like, you see like the truth behind the veil, right?
Let me ask you this. Which man are you going to be? The victim or the leader? You know the definition of insanity, right? Of course you do. So let's stop doing the same thing over and over and step into truth, what you know is right, what is hard. You see, your fear, it is a compass pointing you into the direction to become a better man. Here's the truth nobody will tell you. She's not broken. She's not crazy. She's responding exactly how a feminine woman would and should respond to how you've been showing up as a masculine leader in the relationship. Think back to when you first met her. You were confident, you had direction, you didn't need her validation to feel good about yourself. That's the man that she fell in love with, and that's the man that she needs back in her life. The ERM method isn't about manipulating her. It's about becoming the man that you're meant to be, the man that she fell in love with, that she cannot help but be drawn back toward. And what holds most men back is doubt, it's indecision. That fear, doubt, and indecision. I'm not gonna get biblical on you, but that is the devil telling you that you can't do it, that you can't. We've shown you testimonies of other guys. So right now, what I want you to do before I show you those 5 stages, is I want you to click the link down below, set up a call with our team. It's a free strategy call, and we're gonna analyze exactly the situation, what is gonna cause you to get her back, and all the mistakes that you made along the way. We've done this thousands of times. We'll know exactly how to help you. So click that link down below if you're fully committed to setting up a call with our team. Here's the video on the 5 stages. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.